Good morning, everybody. It is Wednesday, May 6th. Hope you're having a great midway through the week. We're already at Wednesday. Helps when we don't have school on Monday. We're going to take a look at subtracting mixed numbers with unlike denominators today. So, the big thing to remember before we get started is um, remember, if we don't have a common denominator, that is our first step. The second thing we need to remember is to add or subtract, make sure we're using the right symbol, but borrow if needed. So we're going to take a look at what that may look like today, because if you don't have enough of a fraction to subtract another fraction, you need to borrow from the whole number. And then always make sure that you're simplifying and changing a improper fraction into a mixed number if that is your answer as well. So to get us started, we're going to take a look at the problem 5 1/3 minus 2 3/4. And so our first step is to find a common denominator. So one of the things that you can do is either you can multiply the two denominators by each other, or remember we talked about the last couple days of finding the least common denominator, because when you find the least common denominator, that is going to help you simplify in the end. You won't have to do as much. Okay. So if I have 3 and 4, just going to model what that looks like again. I'm going to count by threes and I'm going to count by fours. So I'm going to always start with my larger number and count by fours. So I have 4 plus another 4 is 8, plus another 4 is 12, 16, 20, 24. That's when your good old multiplication facts come in handy. Okay, and then counting by threes, I have 3, 6, 9, 12. Oop, I can stop right there because right away I see a match. Okay, so I have 12 for multiples of 3 and 12 when I have my multiples of 4. So when I come up here, I can count by how many groups of 3 did I make? 1, 2, 3, 4. So that's what I'm going to multiply my 1/3 by, is times 4. My numerator and denominator need to be multiplied by the same number. And when I'm looking at my fours, I'm going to multiply by 1, 2, 3 groups. So times 3. Okay, so once again, this one works to multiply by the opposite. However, not all fractions are going to be like that. So always check to see what is going to be your least common denominator, especially if your numbers are pretty large for your denominators. Okay, so I'm going to rewrite my fractions. Now I have 5 and 1 times 4 is 4. 3 times 4 is 12. Minus 2 and 3 times 3 is 9. And 4 times 3 is 12. Okay. So now what I notice is when I go to subtract, because that would be my next step, I notice that my first fraction is smaller than my second fraction. So that means I need to borrow from my whole number. Okay, so I'm going to borrow 1 whole from my 5, which leaves me with 4. And now that 1 whole that I borrowed, since I already have a denominator of 12, okay, I'm going to add 12 twelfths to this fraction right here. Okay, so we add 12 twelfths. I don't add 4 twelfths or something weird or 4 fourths because I have 4 left. I add 12 twelfths because that's what my denominator is. Okay, so now I'm going to rewrite this again. I have 4, and then I have 4 twelfths plus 12 twelfths, which gives me 16 twelfths minus 2 and 9 twelfths. Okay, now since this first fraction is larger than my second fraction, now I can subtract. So I have 4 minus 2, which gives me 2. Okay, and now I have 16 minus 9, which gives me, what is it? What is it? Yeah, right, 7. And my denominator stays the same, which is 12. Okay, so now I move on to my third step, and I need to remember I need to simplify or change to a mixed number. Well, this is already a mixed number. I don't see any improper fractions. So now I need to see if my fraction can be simplified. So can 7 be divided by 2? Nope, not evenly. 2, 4, 6, 8. Nope. What about 3? 3, 6, 9. Nope. 4, 4, 8. Nope. 5s, 5, 10. Nope. So the only thing that can be divided into 7 is if I divide by 7. Okay. And that gives me 1. But now if I divide 12 by 7, that's not going to come out evenly. Okay. That's going to give me a whole number with a decimal number. It's going to go in there 1 point something times. So that means that our answer is already simplified, our fraction is. So 2 and 7/12 is going to be my final answer. So just to recap, make sure you find a common denominator using your least common denominator way, strategy, if that works for you. Then subtract or add depending on what it's asking you to do. Make sure you're paying attention to the symbol or the operation. Borrow if need be. So if the first fraction is smaller than the second fraction, you need to borrow. Use the denominator to help you with what you add as one whole. And then subtract and simplify as you need to. All right. Have a great Wednesday. Deuces.